Hi guys, welcome back to another Craft With Me video. Today we are going to be doing something with recycling our packaging. And I know that I did something last week with our tissue or Kleenex tissue boxes, and I actually made a journal out of it. If you didn't see that, I will link that video down below. That was a really fun one. I really enjoyed doing that one. But I had mentioned that there was something else that I wanted to do as well, and I'm going to show you my embarrassing stack of, look at this, all of this packaging that I've kept forever and ever. And I'm actually cleaning out my craft space. And I thought, you know what? I really have to do something with it. And I have a lot of scrap paper. And so I thought, let's make something out of the packaging. Now, this is going to be, this isn't something new. Everybody's done it. And I know that I've done something like this prior, but that was a really long time ago. So I thought, let's make something out of all of this fun stuff. And so some of these are new, like this one I just got yesterday when I shared that, what was it? It was these, the little half paper dolls. And so I got that, and then I have some of the ones that my friend sent me in Happy Mail. I have, you know, little things like this that I got from ordering stickers and things. And here's another one. These are a bunch of little ones, and look at how cool they are. I was going through them and I'm thinking, man, these are really nice. So guess what? We're making little booklets. We're gonna see how many things we can make with all of this stuff. So I have a few ideas on what to do. I even have Tim Holtz things in here. I have this, which I thought was super cute because it's a little tag with a pocket that we can just kind of, I don't know, do something with. I have these. This is another thing of stickers. And here's this. These were more stickers. Oh no, these were the retro, well, stickers, but they were tickets. So just a bunch of anything and everything. And I have a bunch of different scraps of paper. I have some that are actual cardstock, and I have some that are like the thinner weight. So we're gonna go ahead and just jump into it and see what we come up with. So this is gonna be my little my scrap piece that I'm gonna use as kind of like a glue sheet. So let's go ahead and make something super simple. I'm just going to make a pocket, and we're just going to cover this up. I'm going to leave the inside because I think that's really pretty. So let's see what we do for the outside. I need something that look, perfect. This is a scrap of what I used last time, but let me see how I'm going to do this. This could be the top, this could be the pocket, so it's got to look like this. So it's got to be this way. How do I do it? Should I do just one piece and see if it'll, yeah, it'll be fine, right? But this is going to go like this. And I want, maybe I want this here. That'll be pretty. Okay, so let's see. Barely. It's barely going to fit. I think it's practically right on the money. That was perfect. I didn't even plan that, guys. That was just pure luck. So I'm going to use my glue stick for this, and I'm just going to go around trying to get the corners and make sure that I get a pretty good amount of glue all around here. Let's turn this around and get this going. Okay, so I want it like this, and I want these here. So I am going to see if I can level this up a little bit. Put this right on the edge. Pushing that over right to the edge. you get a little bit of wiggle room because of the glue stick. And I'm going to use my brayer to kind of help smooth it out. This is a cheapy one that I got from, where'd I get it? From Hobby Lobby. And I think I want to get the one from Tim Holtz. I think it's smaller. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut this off. So I'm just going to use my scissors and trim this off. Try not to cut into the packaging. I know we all have packaging, so I'm hoping that this will kind of help give new life to some of the pieces that we have. Okay, I think we're good. I am going to ink a little bit around. Let me bring out my I love this little thing. I'm going to ink just on the inside because the outside probably won't show very much. Actually, it does, just a tiny bit. But let me get at least these edges. And then we're just going to make a simple pocket. And I'm already using the crease that already is on the packaging. So that fold there, I'm going to actually use that, and then we'll fold up for a pocket. Okay, so this is going to be the top, and then I'm going to fold this up to be our pocket. So I don't want to make it go all the way up because you want to have some space for to tuck things in. Let me get my, here it is. I try to keep my tools out that I knew that I was going to use. So put that there. I don't think I need a little notch because I feel like it's high up enough. But let me go ahead and press that down. And there is that. I am going to round these corners. So I'm going to do the biggest corner rounding on here. And let me just ink on this side. And look how cute that little pocket is. So before I do that, before I go in, there's two different ways that we could use. And so there's this one that I just use some elastic as a pocket, and this just goes like that. Or we could do this and put these little things, and see, here's another pocket. And again, these are just using the packaging. So this one's really thick though because I use cardstock to cover that up. This one is too, but it's not too bad. So let's see. What do I want to do? Let's do the, I'm going to use a bit of this, and let me see. I need a bit to go on top. So let's just use this green. I feel like this green will look good. So I'm going to use a is this 1 inch? Yeah. I'm going to use a 1 inch strip, and I'm going to double it. So I'm doing 2 pieces of that, and then 2 pieces of this green. Let me get this part over here. I'm getting this into my ink. Okay. And then all of the supplies that I'm using, I will link down below, except for, of course, the packaging and the, the paper, because I'm just using scraps. So this is really a good way to use up scraps and packaging that you've decided to keep because you thought it was cool. So I'm going to do that. I just like layering them because I feel like it's going to make it a little bit more sturdy, and it's going to kind of stand the test of the wear and tear, you know what I mean? So let me clean that up. And we're just going to ink around the edges here. And I'm going to put them both together and use my crocodile to punch a hole. Let me pull this down a little bit. See if I could get this in the middle. Ooh, not bad. Okay, now we need to figure out where this is going to go. This is going to have to go further down. So I don't know if this will fit. Nope. So I'm going to have to use my big punch. So I have, okay, if you don't have this big punch, what is it called? This, I bought this on clearance at Hobby Lobby a while back. Oh, it's called the Crocodile 2. So if you don't have this, then you can put brads and maybe just tape it on the back so that the brad feet kind of don't get caught with whatever ephemera you're putting in there. But I'm going to use this. So let's see if I could, I rarely use this, but I'm glad I have it. So we're going to use, yeah, we're going to use the big side, but I have to kind of mark it and see. I think right about here. And I'm just using this kind of as my guide so that I know where I need to punch. Okay. So using that for that, and then I'm going to put this here. And this one I can use my smaller one. So let's put this all the way back, and I'm just going to punch it here. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my crocodile for the top part, but I need brads. So I think we're going to use blue. I just happen to have blue ones here. So let's take 2 of these out. Do this. Put that in. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and do this bottom one. If I can find my other little, here it is, my other little piece here. And put that up. Trying to figure out where this goes and press that down. Okay, I don't know what happened here. What did I do? See that? I don't know what happened. Okay, I'll probably play it back and see what happened, but it's not a big deal. Ooh, I have blue. I have blue string. So let's just stick with the blue theme here. Oh, of course we need to glue this down. That would help. I could just do like a little notch to get rid of that. So guess what? we're gonna end up doing a little notch. Because I don't know what happened. So let's do a little thing of glue on the sides. Fold this up, press that down. Gotta really make sure that that stays nice and pressed on the corners, because this is very thick now because I have the cardstock on it. So I think we got it. And then now we can add our string for the closure. So lift that up a little bit. I'm going to make a double knot. I need to put this a little bit longer so I can make that double knot here. Lifting it up a little bit, making sure that the knot goes all the way down to where our eyelet is. And then make that double knot. If I could grab this right. Okay. And then we're gonna cut this little tail off. And then we can wrap this around. So I just kind of do like a zigzag. And then bring that back under and cut that little tail off. And there we have it. So let's wrap this back up. There is our little pocket. How cute is that? I love that. And there it is. Then you can add your little ephemera or something in it. And then close this up. Bring that around. So there it is. Cute. So there's one. Okay. Now let's go into, that's using something like this. So I'm gonna put that off to the side. Now I have an idea for these. So I have two of these and they're the same size. And I was thinking of kind of flipping it over and making it into one of those little matchbook, little flip up notebooks. You know what I mean? So I think I might have to trim this down a little bit and trim this down a little bit because we want it to tuck under. But this can stay here because we need for it to flap over. You know what I mean? And then put like little notebook paper there. So let's cover this up first. Let's see what paper we want to use. I have this. I kind of feel like it matches the inside. Trying to organize my stuff here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the whole thing. We're gonna have to cover that hole up. But we could do the whole thing like this. So let's do that first. And just cover this up with glue. I think this got like a little sticky because I didn't put my top on. Here it is. Let's cover that up. And put this here. We're gonna put it right at the edge. Let's stick this, slide this over. Okay. And then use this again to press that down. And let's cut this out. I'm gonna see how many we can do within an hour or so. Try to keep this video not too long. Okay. And then this could go folded down again. So let's get our bone folder here. Okay. Now we're gonna have to do the same thing with this one. I think I'm gonna do 2 different pieces here, because that's the only way that this is gonna fit. See that? Okay, so let's just do this part first, and then we'll do that. If it's not all in one piece, it's not a big deal. I'm not gonna worry about it. But let's go ahead and put this on. This isn't directional, so it doesn't matter. And I'm gonna put that right on the edge there. Okay, pressing that down. There's a few things on my desk that I don't need right now, and so trying to kind of move things around so it doesn't get in my way. And then we're going to cut this out. And then I'll just use another strip for that top part. Luckily it worked out because I didn't even measure it. Now I think this might fit here. Yeah, this will fit here. So let's add glue to this. And put this here. And I'm going to put it right on the edge of that fold. And I think I'm going to wipe off the remaining little bit here, just so that it doesn't get too sticky there. And then just cut the rest of it off. Trying to get as close to it as possible without cutting into your packaging. Okay. Now we're gonna go in, ink around these edges a little bit, so not too much of that white will show. I think I am going to, should I round these corners? So this is gonna go like this. Let's see, this needs to be inked a little bit. Okay, now let's see how this is going to work. This needs to go like this. And so technically how it works is you're supposed to glue. Okay, so that's okay. It works out. I don't have to add paper or anything to that bottom part. I am going to close this up a little bit just so that it kind of gives it like resistance, so it doesn't try to flap open. And so I'm going to do that. Okay. Come on. Trying to make this seal itself shut. And then this, I'm going to have to, let's see, I think I'm gonna cut maybe up to this brown line. So let me get my mini cutter here. And let's see if I could cut it to here and see if that's enough. I think it should be enough to kind of bring that in. Yeah, I think so. That's actually really cute, isn't it? I know I say that a lot. All right, so this could go in here, and then I can glue this part down. But before I do that, I do want to add, oh, see, I do need to add something there, but I could put like a little number or something there. You know what I mean? Like, let's see. Let me close this up. I brought out some of my fun little things here. I have like number stickers. I can put this here. Just to kind of cover that up. Does it? I think it fits perfectly there. So let's do that. And put this right here on the edge. Just to cover that up. And then this is going to go like this. And we just have to add like little paper. So I'm going to use this pack. I've had this forever. Let's do 4, but we're going to cut them down. So let's see. I could put it all the way to the top. So I could cut it here. Let me mark it. So I could cut it here and then cut it here. I don't want it to go all the way down because I don't want it to tuck in. The only thing that I want to tuck in is this top part. So we're going to cut this down and see how many pieces we can get out of this. So let's cut this down. To right there. And here. Saving those little pieces, but look, that's going to look really good. So I'm going to keep cutting this down and see how many I can get. I wonder if you know what? I think I'm going to see if I can make it just a little bit shorter. So if I cut it right here, right along this line, then I can get more. So I'm going to cut it along this line. So we're going to make them smaller. And then we'll cut along this line. That's a good thing about working with the grid. The graph. Is it grid? Graph? You know what I mean. And it's not same, but I'm not worried about it. I'm going to save those little pieces. And then this, I can use my STAPLESS stapler. Stick those in. I kind of have to press it in when it's a little bit more than what fits in here. But once I tuck it in, it's fine. Okay. And then all I have to do, I'm probably just glue this whole piece back. Come on. There it goes. So I'll just glue this whole piece back. Put this here. Making sure that this is even. Press that down. Because this paper is, the packaging is kind of glossy, it takes more than a minute. Well, not technically a minute, but you know what I mean. It takes a little bit longer for it to stick because of the glossiness of that. Now we can go ahead and add this to the back. I'm not going to bother really decorating it too much because I just kind of want to give you guys ideas first of how we could do this and how we can reuse our packaging. Okay, just making sure that that's even. And then this goes tucked under like that. See? Not bad. And then you just kind of flip it, and there is your little notebook paper. And then you just kind of tuck that back in. So there is number 2. And we're already in 30 minutes. So let's see. I wanted to do something else, something a little bit bigger. I have this. I thought I had another bigger one that I wanted to use. But I was thinking about this one, making it into like a little booklet. There's this one too. No, I think I like the height of this one. So we're gonna make this into a little book. So this I could add here, but we're gonna cover this up first. Now see how pretty this inside is? So I'm gonna leave that, and then we're just going to do the outside. And so I have this, but I kind of need it in a different direction. I have this polka dot. That would look pretty with the green on the inside. I could do the polka dot here. And this doesn't really even matter what direction that's in, so let's do that. So let's add glue to this. Okay, trying to make sure that I get all the corners. And then we'll add this. Let me move that out of the way. Slide that over. Trying to use my finger to slide it. This one still needs a little bit more sliding. Oops. Okay, I think that's good. So let's go ahead and press that down. Okay, now we're gonna go around and cut this out. So this you can actually make into like a little journal. Trying to concentrate while I cut. And there is that. So this is going to be our flap for the closure. So I'm going to just press that back down. This was our original flap there. And then I'm going to bring this in. And I'm not going to bring it all the way over to the fold. I'm going to leave it just a tiny bit, maybe 1/4 of an inch away from that original closure fold. Trying to make sure that I have the bottom sides meeting. And then we can go ahead and fold down the rest. Make sure that that gets pressed down very well. Look at that. I think I want to round these corners. Ink around this. Now this is not even Steven here. I don't like that it's not even. So I'm going to try to correct it, see if it'll work, because this thing is really like thick. But guess what? I guess that's as best as it's going to get. So it's not the end of the world. Just inking around it to give a little bit of color and covering the white edges here. All right. So this I think we can leave like that. Now, let's just sew in a little signature, shall we? Again, I'm just going to stick with the basic here. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know. Is this too many? I think it might be. So let's do this. Then I'm going to fold this in half. We just want to make a little notebook, not a big one. And so I'm going to bring this in here. And then I think I want to cut it to where this meets. So I think at this little bit inside this line, maybe halfway there. And then we're going to cut, leaving a little bit of a space on the bottom. So I'm going to bring out my little trimmer here and see if this will cut through all of these. Yep, perfect. And this way. Okay, so there is our little booklet pieces. And all we're going to do is sew that in. And then we can make this closure with the elastic. So let's do that. And let's see. Let me grab I need a I need this. So I'm going to use, let's use this black. I'm just going to use this. Normally I'll use the wax cord, but we're just going to stick with something easy peasy. And I know that you've seen me do this a million times. So I'm just going to basically make holes so that I could sew this signature in. Come on. I think I need my pokey tool for this. This is easier. And then we'll do this one about here. Okay. Then I can go in and sew this. Ooh, it's coming out. Sew this in. See, this needle is really thick. Come on. There it is. Okay. I'm just doing this really quickly, so don't come at me because I'm not doing it like I should. And then we're going to go in from the bottom. And then bring this under. Then I could cut this here. And bring this under like this. Tie this off. Make sure that it's nice and tight. Holding that with my finger and then just doing a double knot. Oh, that, nope. I pulled too hard. But you get the idea. I'm not going to try to do that over again. But there it is. I'm so upset. You know what? Let me do this again. Give me 1 second. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and sew this in. I'm going to go in through the middle and then the top, pushing this string over to the side so that I don't pierce it while I'm trying to go through that middle slide, that middle hole again. Then the bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and take this out. I'm going to bring this under here. And then I could try to make sure that this is nice and tight. Okay, let's cut this off here. And double knot it. And this is ready. Then we could go ahead and do our closure. Let me put this away before it gets all gross. So for our closure, I'm just going to put an eyelet here. So let's put a hole through here. I'm going to use the bigger side. That looks about right. But because this hole isn't big enough for my eyelets that have the washer, I'm going to gently press in a pencil or a pen just to kind of make that hole just a tiny bit bigger so that I could add my eyelet with the washer. I just like the way that looks better, especially if you're going to see it. You know what I mean? You're going to see that on the inside. Now I can still use, even though my eyelet is a little bit bigger, I can still use my crocodile to close that up. For some reason, it always ends up closing on me. And then we're going to use some of this black. I probably should use a thicker one, but we'll use this one for now. And this is all I do. I just kind of measure going around it. And then I'm going to get both of the open ends and I'm going to create a knot. So I'm just going to tie off. Sorry with the gluey fingers. It's not very attractive, is it? I'm going to make a knot. If I can get both pieces into where I need it. Of course, it's always on camera, right? That you struggle more, but when you're doing it by yourself, everything works out fine. Okay. So I made a knot. Trying to pull that really tight there. Now, so with this end that's not tied, you know what I mean? This end over here, we're gonna put this through so that the knot sticks in the back. You're not gonna see it in the front. See that? And then all you do is close it like this. And there it goes. So this is really thick, but you get the idea. And I think it's still really cute. So there is your little journal notebook. So there is number 3. And let's see. Do I have any other ideas what we could do with these? Let's see what else comes to me. Of course, we can just make it into a tag, right? I really like this. I can put just a little something here on the top, cover the back. Or just cover the whole thing. Because sometimes we want paper. We want to use like the thinner paper, but we can't because it's like this. We could do both sides. Maybe this way so that the numbers are this way. Make it into a tag. That's the easiest way, but just to make it an even 4. We could make it into a tag with a pocket. Just to kind of mix it up a little bit. So it's not just a plain tag, you know what I mean? So with that in mind, let's... Oh, it's fine because it's the thinner paper. So this isn't the thick cardstock. So let me move all of my stuff out of the way and see if I can put this right on the corner edge here. Okay. Again, using my brayer for this. And just kind of seal that off. Okay. Now let's cut this and then we'll do the back. And then we'll do the back with this side. So let's do that. And then we'll copy the little tag with the pocket. Okay. And let's just add this here. I wasn't too worried about trying to make it even on the edges. I'm just going to cut it out. So let's just cut this out. I think this is going to look really cool. I love this paper. I don't remember from what set it's from, but it's a thin piece. Move my hands out of the way for that. And then we'll get these. Okay. Now we're going to make it into a tag. So of course we need to do the cutting of the top edges. So let me get my corner cutter here. This is going to be the front. So I'm just going to do this. And then luckily it's long enough, so I think it'll work out. Let me just ink around here. And then we can bring this up a little bit just to make a little pocket. Yeah, I think about here. And use my bone folder here to really press that down. Okay. We can glue this so we can make our little pocket. This is what happens when you leave it open. Nope. Ah, geez. I gotta scrape the edges with the needle. All right, there it goes. Okay, and we're gonna have to make sure that that stays glued down here. Then I can put like a sticker or something like this. Is this a sticker? Just to kind of make it look like it's a pocket. Put that there. That will look cute. Okay, I think that worked. Let's put the sticker here. About here, I think. And then we can put a little notch up here so we can put a ribbon through. Now let me get a piece of ribbon. We could do this blue so it'll match. so I can pull this through. Cut this down a little bit and we are set, guys. There it is. Let me close this up. Let me clean up my desk and then I'm going to show you the pieces that we've made. Guys, I was cleaning up my area and I forgot I brought these out. I wanted to make little booklets out of these. And I have so many of them and I thought this would be really fun to make something little and something cute. So because the inside is white, then I thought I could use this, not white, red. And so I thought I could use this piece and put this inside to kind of use up some of that. I think that might be cute. So let's do this super quickly. And add glue on the inside of this. Now you don't have to add paper on the inside. You can just leave it as is, or you can add stickers, or you can even stamp or stencil on the inside. That would be cute too. But I'm just trying to use up my scraps here. So let's put this here on the bottom. And I'm going to cut this out. Okay, let me put this away really quick. I don't need that anymore. I'm going to cut this out. And then I think I have like a sticker I can put on the back of this just to kind of hide what used to be in this packaging. So, wait, I have a little bit over here that I need to trim off. Okay, I think that's okay. I'm going to ink this because I didn't put that all the way on the edge, but an easy fix. Okay, now put that like that. And there is our little book. Now we just need to add some papers. So I'm going to add a few of these. Just an easy little notebook. I'm going to just do 3. Let's see, how can I do this to where I get the most out of my little paper here. I think if I do it there, that should be good. Let's see. So I think I do want to, no, it needs to be a little bit shorter. So let's do this. Yeah, I think that's good. And then we'll cut, just measuring, and then we'll cut here and there. So let's get this. I'm gonna cut this, I think, all the way because that will give me the length that I need. So I could do this, cut that here, and then I don't know if this will be enough. No, it's too short, but who cares, right? Add little pieces on the inside. Who says they have to be same? Same. Or I could use some of these. we are going to put different sizes in here. Trim this off. Put this in here. Isn't that cute? We can put a little something on the back. But let's see how this will work. Let me get my awl. And I think I'm going to see, let me even this up. I need a clip just to kind of keep it in place. I have this big one. I think I'm going to put it right here. And I'm going to keep it right in the middle because I want it to get all of my pieces. So let's do that, and then we'll use black again because it matches. So we'll do this. And again, this is same like we did with the other one. Okay, just adding a couple, like just do this really quickly. Going in from the middle, then the top, then the middle again. Oops. That pulled it right out of my needle here. Excuse me. And then through here. And then we're going to go under that. And that, my friends, let me cut this a little bit shorter so it's easier to handle. And I'm going to tie it like this. Now this is really thin twine, so you don't want to pull too hard because I've already done that mistake. And it cut right off. So just enough to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. And that, guys, is it. Wait, we need to add a little thing. Let's see. I kind of wanted it to match. Guess what? We're going to put this one right here on the back. And I'm going to cut it right on this line. Okay. And this is a sticker, so all I have to do is stick this on and we are good to go. Let me do it this way because I want to make sure that I have it right at that edge. There it is. Ink that up a little bit on the edges. And that's it. We are done, guys. Finally. Look how cute this is. A little book with the inside. I love the inside. So there it is. So there's 1. Here is 2. Then we have 3. Let me add a little something in here so that you guys could see. It needs to be thinner. See, so there's 3. Then there's 4 and 5. So there it is, guys. Not bad, right? I think that it's fun. So let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know also which one is your favorite. Which one would you like to make? And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. And I will see you in the next one. Have a great day, guys. Bye.